Bullony Basketball.
Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to Bullony Basketball. As you can see, I got a group of three right here. None other than 3 Point Weekly. Rik Knows Hoops, run the NBA, GabeSlidIn. How's it going?
Oh man, it's been a minute. Been too long, man. Happy to be back on Bullony Basketball, the 4 Point Weekly special yearly edition. Man, how exciting!
It's always a good time, man. The gang is back together. It is good. It's always a good time to have the little future on Bullony Basketball. So glad to be back.
Great to be back, man. Excited to talk hoops with y'all. It's been too long, way too long.
Yeah.
As Akon once said, it's been so long that I hadn't seen your face. We don't have to say it the way that he said it, though. But let's get right into this first topic right here. I kind of want to know, and each of you guys are probably going to have something different. There's been a lot of positives so far this season. Got to get the vibes right to open things off. So I want to know one thing that you've seen so far that's positive this year that you think might be kind of sustainable throughout the course of the year. Any of you guys can start, and then we'll just kind of go from there.
Well, I guess I'll take the one that I think might be a popular topic here and just start us off with some Detroit Pistons basketball, man. The way that they've been playing this season, I think it has what they already did last season. Were they doing it to this level? No, they were not. But the defense we've been seeing, especially in the front court, leaps from Jalen Duren, especially Isaiah Stewart doing what he always does. Asar continuing to take steps. Hopefully he stays healthy throughout the whole season. Wishing him the best there. But just overall, the way that they've been playing, especially on that end, I think is something that really is going to translate in the long run. I think it's a style of play, especially run by Cade as a guy who can steady the ship on the offensive end. I think the way they play on defense is just one of those systems that can really help you just continue to win games night in, night out throughout a season and just have that consistency. Definitely not to the level of an OKC, but if you think about them and what they do and the fact that they're not always a great shooting team, sometimes the offense can struggle outside of Shea, but with their defense, they can just always keep themselves in the game and find a way to come out on top. And I think while, Detroit probably still has some room to grow, their shooting's not the greatest and a lot of their players are still pretty young. I think that the way that they are playing right now, just the consistency that they can keep with that is just going to keep them going up. And I guess they can't go up in the standings being the 1 seed, but might keep them up there all year.
Do you think the 1 seed is super sustainable for them?
Based on how everybody else is playing right now, I would say it is like possible. If you told me to bet money on who would finish the season as the 1 seed, I think that Cleveland might just be a bit more secure, like in their system. They, of course, won 64 games or whatever last year, and they started off a little slow, but at least in the regular season, I just know that they're probably going to maintain a level of consistency all year. I could see Detroit having some cold spells just because the offense does, have its times where it can struggle. But honestly, I do think that they end the season bare minimum top 2 seed.
I had them written down at first, but I had a feeling somebody was going to bring them up. So
they're too good.
Yeah,
hey,
they are.
You can pivot to something else if you want, or you could keep it up.
Oh, I wrote down a different team because I like the Phoenix Suns. I did not expect
that was my team.
Didn't expect myself to be saying this, man. Devin, I'll let you talk about them too because I didn't think I'd be enjoying this team going into the season. Even though Book's one of my favorite players, they got a new coach in there, Jordan Ott, who came from the Cleveland system and everything. But I didn't expect them to be as fun to watch, and I didn't think that they would be, at 8-6 right now. But I think people forgot some of their role players like Dylan Brooks. Memphis has not really been the same since he left there. He was a pretty key part, and I think turning around the Rockets the last couple years as well. And he's hooping right now with the Suns too. And they got guys like Royce O'Neal. I think their rookie class has played pretty well. Would have loved to see Jalen Green be a little more healthy because the first game he played, it was pretty good. It was pretty telling for him. But hopefully he can get back into the fold because I like to see him. I think they're 6th in offensive rating right now. The defense is middle of the pack, which would never really be great. But based on what they've had the last few years there, it's pretty much on par with that, if not maybe a little bit better. So this is a team that I think has been a pleasant surprise for me because I was definitely screaming in the offseason that they shouldn't extend Devin Booker. They should look to trade him, which still maybe down the line that might be the best thing for them. But I think right now they're playing really good basketball, and it's just a really good breath of fresh air, I think, because the last last couple of years, they were kind of expecting to get back to the NBA final stage. At least that was the internal expectation, and it didn't really turn out that way. So now it's like just like kind of a new regime, new era with still guys around Devin Booker, who I think is still trying to remind people he's one of those guys. He's one of the best players in the world still.
Yeah, the Suns have definitely been, like you said, people weren't expecting or remembering the role players they have on this team to then be able to produce as well as they have. And some of it's been leaps. I mean, Grayson Allen, we've seen have some great performances. Royce O'Neal has shot the ball even better than he historically has this year. But like you touched on as well, they've had some improved defense. And I think it could even improve a little bit more from that middle of the pack mark, because Mark Williams didn't really get that involved until a few games into the season. Dylan Brooks has missed some time, and that's their two main defensive guys. So they've been really fun to watch. I did have another mention listed here because apparently the Suns are a hot topic here, and that's good to see because they've been a much more fun watch than I expected. But I'm going to go with not necessarily that I expect the Utah Jazz to remain as competitive as they have been, but more so in that their players have been fun to watch so far. The player I think who's most likely to maintain that increased production is Keontae George. He's been very surprising to me in his development over the last couple of years. Someone who I saw coming into the league as, can he be a point guard? They're trying to make him one, but can he be that? It wasn't necessarily what he was in college. I saw someone who can be a good off-ball scorer, especially from three, but how does lead guard play actually look for him in the NBA? What I've seen from him so far this year has answered every question I had nearly about him being able to be a legitimate starting point guard in the league. The separation he's able to create is far and above what it was a couple of years ago. The handle looks a lot crisper. His vision and passing range looks a lot better. And his rim pressure now is so much improved from where it was a couple of years ago that now he's at the point with his three-level scoring threat, although the three's been down this year, but that's the thing I'm least worried about with his game. He looks like someone who can legitimately run an offense, be able to create for others, can get his own. And his performance the other night was very impressive, where he was terrible in the first half, and Garrett would have seen this watching against his Bulls. He continued to battle, and as he got into the second half, he was able to play better. He was able to hit some big shots down the stretch, and that's something that's very encouraging to me from a young guard as well. So lots of things to look at in Utah right now. Obviously, Markkanen's been going crazy, but Keontae George is the guy to me who I think has really surprised me, and I think has shown me all the signs that it's not necessarily a fluke, and I think he should be able to maintain it.
Hey, you know who didn't have a good view of it, though, was Billy Donovan, because I actually listened to his post-game press conference after the Jazz game, and he said, I didn't really have a good view because their bench was up. When first of all, the dude shot it from the wing, you're standing on the court. Second of all, the bench was all sitting. So there's Billy Donovan 101. But that's besides the point. I do actually, it's funny because I pondered about 7 or 8 different options for this one, and all 3 of the ones you guys said, mostly like focusing on Keontae George, the Phoenix Suns as a team, Detroit Pistons as a team, and specifically, I was going to talk about maybe like Jalen Duren, that right now he's averaging around like 20 and 10. Like he's
an all-star.
He could do it. Like he could.
He's making for the 1 seed. If they're a top 2 seed, he's gonna make it. I tell you right now.
I think
Stamp
that's
it.
sustainable or something very close to it. But the thing that I guess I'll talk about, because I did have a couple on here, and I didn't want to go the same as what you guys had. What you were talking about too, Devin, just with Utah, a couple years ago, I think one of the coolest stories in the league was Lauri Markkanen emerging from a guy who, with my Chicago Bulls, was just kind of, got shoved to the bench, got benched in place of Patrick Williams. But that's besides the point too. But when he became an all-star and was near all NBA level player, that was really cool. I see something very similar like that right now with Deni Avdija and the Portland Trail Blazers. He just looks like a Swiss Army knife type of player. You love when these guys who, it's not like he's a second-year player that was projected like, okay, he's definitely going to be great, because when you saw him in Washington, he looked like simply a prospect. He looked like a guy who, I saw your reel the other day, or your TikTok the other day, Rik, when you were talking about these draft busts that never pan out, and you mentioned the Han Vesleys. Like, that's what he looked like he was on projection to be. But, right now in Portland, like, this is the perfect home for him. And I keep saying it because this is a team who, they have a couple veterans on the team like Drew Holiday, Robert Williams, Matisse Thybulle even's been playing some games this year. And all of this while someone like Damian Lillard just sits on the sidelines waiting to come back next season. And you still got Shaedon Sharpe, and you got Jeremy Grant playing like 6th man of the year. I feel like he's just making everybody better, and we already know the playmaker that Dame is. We know Drew Holiday has been a great playmaker, but Deni Avdija, to be the playmaker that he is already and be the leading scorer on this team, like, I think he'll be an all-star this year if Portland stays in the mix and they're at least at the bottom end of the play-in or better. If they're a top 10 seed, I see no reason why he shouldn't make the all-star team, and that's why I want to give him flowers.
That's another team I really enjoyed a lot. Like great on the Denny shout. Shaedon Sharp got off to like kind of a slow start. He's still not shooting the 3-ball like incredibly, but I think once that gets back to the mean, I think he's going to be playing a lot better ball too. Just a really fun team to watch. I think, like you said, Garrett, like the mix of like young players and vets that they have is really good. I think Thiago Splitter's done a good job with the situation he's been put in. Just a super fun team. They've been like a team that I just hope that they can like stay in that playing race at least, because I think they'll be a tough out like if they seem to play, mesh together, and get that confidence up.
Yeah, they're one of those teams that had, I feel like, a lot of good pieces, but they just hadn't put it all together yet. So that being able to, finally manifest itself into some more winning. I know they figured out the defense last year for the most part, but now to kind of see like the whole picture come together a little bit better has definitely been really promising. Watching Denny play, I don't have any stats to back this up, but I feel like he draws so much contact. And especially for your number one guy, being able to draw contact and get to the line. I mean, you see nowadays, it's so important. I feel like every good team, their number one guy typically is somebody who can get to the line pretty consistently. If he's driving to the rim a lot, it's a big part of the game. And being able to have that from a guy who might be your all-star, who can just drive downhill and make something happen if you're late in the shot clock or the offense is stalling and you just need to get some points on the board. I mean, I feel like he can really make things happen there. And that's on top of, his playmaking and everything else that goes into his skill set.
Yeah, he's definitely improved there. I mean, he was at 5.2 last year in terms of free throw attempts per game. He's up to 7.9 this year. So certainly a significant jump. The other notable thing too is, obviously we know the scoring increase has been significant. He's around 9 in extra points per game this year. He's increased his efficiency since then. Field goal percentage is up about 0.13%, and the 3-point percentage is up about a whole 0.1%. So the fact that his volume has increased this much and he's still more efficient, that's not anywhere near what you typically hear of when someone has this much of a volume and production increase. So yeah, he's been the complete package this year. He's been very fun to watch.
Yeah, definitely a player that I feel like just people need to tune into, because we're just watching him play. Now let's ignore that shot he took the other day when he dribbled out the clock and shot that nasty air ball, but aside from that, he's looked very impressive. One other thing I want to add too, I know it's kind of late to the party, but just on your point too with Keontae George, the only thing I want to say about that, Devin, is I just feel like he looked a lot more confident this year, and even though maybe the efficiency still isn't quite there, and sometimes it still might feel like he's shot chucking to a degree, I just feel like he feels a lot more confident in his shot, and you definitely saw that the other day against Chicago. So I wanted to give that a shout. I don't know if there's anything else you guys want to add on this topic at all. The only other thing I really had for myself was that even though I don't like in this age anybody playing 40 minutes a game, like when Monte Ellis and Luol Deng were doing that back in the day, like Tyrese Maxey doing it, he's probably the only or the best suited guy to doing it that likely could not get injured, because this man just runs, bro. I feel like he's one of the most conditioned athletes we've seen in a while. I'm not gonna disrespect your guy Curry, Gabe. I'll give him credit, but I'm just saying, this guy just runs like it's crazy. So that's my only other thing I was just gonna add there.
Yeah, I had one other thing actually on that Jazz point, because I think Devin had talked about this about a week ago on a stream we did, and I was curious about the whole Ace Bailey factor, because of course he was their high draft pick, but started off the season kind of slow, was dealing with some sickness and things. And Devin, seems like you've watched a bit more Utah Jazz than I have this year, which for me is not very much at all. Kind of seeing him now integrate into a larger role within the team. Do you feel like him and Keontae George are going to be some long-term options over there, or do you think they're still kind of looking for that franchise piece?
I think it's probably a bit premature at this point to say that Ace is locked in as one of those cornerstone guys, but I think he certainly has shown the flashes that give me hope. Certainly the last 4 or 5 games have shown a lot more positive signs. They've started to work him into the rotation a little bit more. He had some thinner minute games through that first couple of weeks stretch, but he looks like a guy who's going to be able to succeed off ball next to Keontae. That's the biggest thing right now. He's shown some good cutting ability. Their corner 3, although not fully there yet, looks like something that's going to be at least viable and something that teams are going to have to respect, which is going to be big. So I think there's a lot of room for improvement still, but he's shown some good off-ball movement, some good cutting ability. The 3 looks viable. We know what he can do in the transition game, and as good of an athlete as he is. So I think there's certainly something there. I think there's potential for him and Keontae to be the duo, and then you got your nice pieces like a Walker Kessler to build around around long term. But I think it's certainly early to tell definitively that he's that guy, but I think he's shown enough flashes to say that he certainly can work next to Keontae Jordan. There's certainly potential there for them as a duo.
Yeah, I would say I think that there needs to be a little bit more time, like with him especially, but also I think that they still need to find a little bit more for their core. Rik, I don't know if you have anything you want to add there.
I'm literally just looking at the Blazers assistant coaches, and some of these names are just crazy.
That's funny.
They got James Posey.
Hey, man.
And do y'all remember Nate Borkin, who was like the Pacers head coach?
Pacers coach, the 1 year, and he's terrible. Like everyone booed him.
Well, he's over there too.
Nate B. Shout out to Nate B.
Hey, shout out to Tiago Splitter. That's the guy right there. But speaking of teams, you talked about Portland, talked about Utah. Let's move it on to one team each of us. Maybe needs to change their direction. Whether they need to full on rebuild, do they need to make a serious trade to get into contention? What's that team, and what do you guys think?
Does anybody have the Grizzlies?
They're a strong contender. They're a strong contender, but I have other options I could go with.
That's the team for me. I mean, honestly, when they made the Desmond Bane trade, that was kind of like I didn't really like it for like a reset type of move, honestly. Like, I feel like they should have just really kept what they had. So, and just seeing the iteration of this team, John Morant seems super checked out. If he's not the guy that you're building the franchise around, I think it's just time to go ahead and hit the reset. I mean, you already got a new coach in there. I just think it just might be time. I think it's really ran its course with this team and this current core. And I feel like you can get probably decent return. I mean, John Morant's value is probably not as high as it once was now, but a lot of teams will probably line up for Jaren Jackson. They got some other pieces too. I'm sure KCP could draw you at least a little second round pick or something like that. So that's the team for me that it just really last year when they just fell off that cliff. They were a top 2 seed for most of the season, and then just went downhill. And then all of a sudden it was Taylor Jenkins that was kind of, I don't want to say scapegoated, because he really did have his deficiencies. He changed the whole system. They started running pick and rolls and stuff like that. But that was kind of the guy that they put the blame on, and it didn't really look a lot better for them when it got to towards the end of the season with their new coach. And then in the play-in, they had a really winnable game against the Warriors in that first play-in game, which could have been big because being the 2 seed and the ones playing against the 2 seed last year was a lot different than playing against OKC. So that's just the team I've been kind of turned off by them since the second half of last season. And this 4-10 start, they've just looked really bad, pathetic, honestly. So I just think that's one team I think they just need to pick a new direction, and that is just go ahead and hit the reset.
Yeah, I don't think it's too hard for them to get there either. Just looking at where they're at now with the Desmond Bane trade, getting 4 first-round picks, I mean, that's already a lot of draft capital plus the guys they already have. Whatever Ja's value is at this point, I mean, we know that's something, and I think any team is trading for Ja with the intent that he is probably going to be one of their franchise pieces. So I still think you can get some good stuff for him. And then they already have some good young guys on the roster. I mean, we've seen Cedric Coward come in and be good. We know Zach Edey's still around. Some of their guys like Gigi Jackson, I mean, started off hot, maybe not as much lately, but still some promise there. So overall, I think that, they have a lot of intriguing talent over there if they get that larger opportunity, if they do get off some of that old guard. But I do think they're just in a place where they can get a lot of flexibility. And the Jaren piece, I think, is interesting there too, because I just feel like with his play style, I think even if they are getting off of Ja and kind of in a transitionary period, if he's down to stay, I think they could hold on him for a little bit. I think he could be a guy to keep the culture, definitely teach a lot of the young guys, help them come along with their development. And that's if he wants to be there. But then if he doesn't, then he's a guy that, you can get a lot of value. I think out of the 3 they had with Ja, Bane, and Jaren, honestly, I think Ja might have the least amount of value just because he limits team building a little bit more. And of course, has had a little bit more controversy. But if Bane can get you 4 firsts, I feel like Jaren's value should honestly be a little higher. Now, with that said, I know the market's not the same at all times, but I feel like they're in a spot now generally where there's a lot of flexibility for them to pick a direction and really be able to put themselves in a good place quick.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a ton of sense. But man, it's hard to think for how we were talking about this team 2-3 years ago that this is where we're at. This is the up and coming team, potential future top team in the West. now one of their core three is gone, and we're talking about having to tear it down. It's a cruel world, the NBA, sometimes, how quickly things can change, but it's probably the way they got to go at this point.
You see, like, it keeps going down and down. Teams pass him up. Ja Morant, Jaren Jackson Jr., like, you have a bunch of these guys, too, that are really young, kind of guys who weren't a part of the team when they were the 2 seed back-to-back years. And now we're looking at a team that's like, well, Ja's kind of just holding out, maybe sitting out games, maybe not trying super hard. For all we know, the game against Cleveland the other day when he played like 6 minutes and then he just didn't come back. Do we really know if there was a reason why he didn't want to come back, or is he just like sitting out for his own doing? So I do agree. I think that Memphis is one of those teams that it's really weird. I mean, even someone like Ty Jerome, like they got him, and you haven't really even seen him yet this year. And like, how is he gonna play like once he starts getting like serious run? Because I don't even know, man. It's a really weird team.
It's so much wrong. I mean, like Gabe mentioned, the 4 first-round picks that they got back. To me, like when it comes to team building, no, I'm not a GM, but that just seems like it's kind of like a tipping point. Like, okay, we're trying to recoup assets, and we just like with Ja Morant, like we just got to be very like brutally honest. I mean, I think we're all pretty much fans of Ja Morant, of his on-court activities at least. And the guy, like last year, wasn't really Ja Morant. Like he was fine, like he had a fine year, not Ja Morant. Then the year before he only played like 10 games. He had the suspension going into the season and everything like that. I think sometimes like teams and players can both benefit from parting ways, and I think this is one of those situations. I think he's like sometimes just being in a situation where like Memphis is giving him like opportunities despite the off-court activities and stuff like that, and even then like it just kind of seems like it's not working out the same way that it was like 2-3 years ago. So I feel like he could really benefit and kind of, I don't want to say per se revive his career, but it kind of is that sense, like get back to that all-NBA caliber player that we once knew him to be. Like he was supposed to be one of the next guys, one of the next faces of basketball. And just to see how quickly it's kind of like fell off a cliff for him and for this franchise, it's a little head scratching. So I just think like right now, like Gabe mentioned, like it's kind of seems like it might be an easier period to make that transition. Like there's some teams where there's no easy period. Like the Sacramento Kings don't really have a great avenue to hit a full reset because they're already a bad team with a bunch of old players. But it seems like you still got, players that teams would probably want. You got 4 first-round picks in the offseason in the Bain trade, and you do have some young players that have shown some promise. And then even hitting the reset right now, like you could give GG Jackson some more run, like allow him to play instead of playing in the G League, because he's shown a couple years ago, like he looked like he could be a promising player. Vince Williams, guys like that, Jalen Wells, like you got guys that have shown promise at some point in their career. So sometimes when you just hit that reset, you decide to be bad, you can let those guys just play through their mistakes and learn that way. So to me, it seems like it's a pretty obvious decision for them to hit the reset, honestly, because it's not working. I want to see Ja Morant in a better situation where we can see him play his best basketball too.
Yeah, I think that was very well said. When it comes to Devin, Gabe, what's the team for you guys?
I'll let you go, Devin. I went first last time.
Well, Rik already alluded to him. It ain't going to be a pretty one, but the Kings have had a pretty quick, rapid, and disastrous fall from their first playoff berth in eons. And we're not even fully 2 seasons removed. It's bad, man. It's nasty, and I don't love it. It's just not good.
Oh, man.
He does not love it.
Not the reference.
I don't love it, man. I don't love it. They got too many guys that are on the wrong side of 30 that they're trying to rely on. They got too many guys that are all trying to do the same thing on offense, and they got basically no guys that can defend. And the one guy on the perimeter who can defend, they continue to refuse to play. But I'm going to complain about the minutes of Keon Ellis some other day. Point being, these guys stink, and they're not going to be competitive again with this group. They've pigeoned themselves into a corner of a bunch of the players who do the same thing, and those things do not result in winning basketball. And a lot of those players that they've continued to bring in, meaning, of course, Levine, Monk still being there, Russ, and Schroeder, are taking the ball out of the guy who was arguably the engine of their elite offense at the time in Domantas Sabonis, making him even less valuable, because if he's not a playmaking hub, what is he? I mean, he has some inherent value, but it's limited. So they don't have a ton of assets that I think a ton of teams are going to scream about getting, and they're not in turn going to give up a ton of future assets for them to kickstart a rebuild, but it's going to be better than nothing. And I think kickstarting it now instead of just waiting for a few years is going to be better, because they're already bad. they're not going to be competing for anything right now. They might as well start developing some guys and get some future assets while they're being bad. Sabonis might be your most valuable asset, but his fit is janky most places. Levine, we just saw get traded for not a ton, but he's played well in Sacramento. Maybe you get a bit back for him. But whatever you get is better than nothing at this point. Clearly, this era was short-lived and isn't working anymore. It sucks for a team that's, been in a perpetual rebuild now for what seemed like forever until they finally weren't, to now have to say we might have to go back into that 3 years later. But it's the reality of their situation right now, and I think it's where they need to go.
They stink, man. Just like if we're making references, you guys know what I like to say. You know where I'm going with this?
Yep.
This team is in purgatory. I'm sorry to say it, but it at this point, it unfortunately is just an ownership problem. I think that when you see a team that's been managed like this for such an extended period of time, like one playoff appearance in 20 seasons or something like that at this point, when you look at that over an extended stretch, really the only thing that you can point at is ownership. So I really think no matter what happens, as long as this team is under the same ownership group, nothing is going to change. Spoken from a Cincinnati resident, a true Bengals fan, I can tell you, if your ownership is bad, you are never going to go anywhere. I think I made jokes a long time ago on 3 Point Weekly that they need to pack this team up and send them to Seattle. I still stand by that. I think as long as they're in this ownership, like, it doesn't matter who the GM's going to be, because they're still just going to make these terrible trades. Like, think back to when they were like really obsessed with Buddy Hield for some reason. That was like an ownership thing. And then getting your best draft pick, you miss on draft pick after draft pick after draft pick, the whole 2010s. De'Aaron Fox, finally you hit one, you get another great one, you get the steal of the draft and Tyrese Halliburton. Trade him for Sabonis. And that trade was one of those where, and it wasn't as like lopsided as something like we just saw with now having Luka trade, but that was a trade that was very heavily criticized. And I might have been one of the rare like devil's advocates there to an extent. And the Sabonis trade did lead them to that playoff appearance, but very clearly, like, they just consistently make decisions and put themselves in position to not be a good team. They get somebody good, it doesn't last, and it's just from top to bottom, it's mismanagement. I think that, like, genuinely, the Kings, I'm not going to invest in them as long as they're under the same ownership group, because nothing's going to change.
I thought you were going to reference the one thing where you said before, where you said you can take the team out of Cincinnati, but you can't take Cincinnati.
It's true. It's true. Spoken as a true Cincinnatian.
Oh man, this team, I mean, at least that 23 season, it was fun.
The beam.
It was a good time, man. And this team's old as shit, bro. Like, I'm looking at like their ages on this team. They were old as hell, bro. When did Doug McDermott get there?
Dougie McBuckets, bro.
Dougie McBuckets.
In Big 2025, bro. Is that what, Creighton legend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Still kicking it, man. I'm going back to this De'Aaron Fox trade because like Gabe said, this is just piss poor, like, top of the line in the organization. How the hell do you trade, like, because De'Aaron Fox is a really good player, all NBA caliber player. How the hell do you trade him to San Antonio and you don't at least get one of those guys? I mean, Castle, Vassell, shit, Keldon Johnson, anybody, bro. Like, somebody that can bring some type of, like, excitement to this team. Because, like, I know we all had the same reaction when we saw the trade, like, what they got back. They got back a lot of picks, which was cool, but, like, just getting basically the Chicago Bulls back, like Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, two still good players and everything like that. But I feel like if you're trading somebody of that caliber, De'Aaron Fox, who's, essentially the face of your franchise, you got to give your fans something to be excited about. And it just, I'm glad that they got that playoff drought out the way, because it's probably going to be a pretty long time before they make it again. Like, it might be another decade plus, because it's a nasty looking direction which they're going in. They don't really have like a ton of like, young players to really get super excited about. I like to see more like Nick Clifford minutes for sure, but man, far fall from the greats that was. They were almost a team that made the second round that year too, which is crazy. And
yeah. Oh no. I was gonna say one thing too, and this is just a crazy stat on top of it, is that they played 14 games games, and this is not like, I'm not throwing shade at any of these players, but more so the front office, is that out of the 14 games, Russell Westbrook has started 8, Precious Achiuwa has started 4, and Dylan Cardwell has started 1. This is 2 guys who they signed either within a couple days before the season or in the middle of the season already, and then another guy who wasn't even drafted, and they've already started in the first month of the year a combined 13 games, and you played 14. That's simple enough right there, just how lost this team is. I get it, people have been out, like I know Levine's missed a couple games, Sabonis as well. You shouldn't be resorting so quickly to guys who were not even in the picture. Otherwise, what was the whole point of the offseason? Like, I'm starting to question too, it's not even just management, but like, you know, Doug Christie too, did he even like draw up a scheme, or was he just gonna kind of like free ball the whole season? Like, that's kind of like what it seems like is going on here. But I don't know, I think that there's not even just to throw shade on him or the players or the front office, it's a collective. The team is dog water.
Weren't Kings fans complaining about Mike Brown not playing Keon Ellis? Like,
Yeah, it's been a
Am I making this
consistent
up?
thing. He's only started 2 games this year. If we're talking about guys who starting games, like over 40% 3-point shooter, and 44 this year. Great defender, but he's only getting 2 starts. Like, yeah, it's fun. It's a mess.
They're strange. Honestly, I hate their roster too. Like, it's just all like you take the concept of like a ceiling capper, like a guy who like can typically raise your floor a little bit, but kind of can cut off where you go. Like, you think prime Russ, like, can take your team to the playoffs, is not going to win you a series. Sabonis, good in the regular season, typically folds in the playoffs. DeRozan, that offense, ISO. We've seen a lot of Raptors games here on the bottom half of the screen. Once you hit the postseason with DeMar, things kind of went south pretty. And you just look at all these players, even like Levine. I mean, the Bulls didn't do too much with him as a number 1, even though he can provide some quality play. Like, they weren't typically bad enough to be looking at a number 1 pick. And you take all these guys, some of them pretty past their prime, most of them pretty past their prime, and you put them together, and now your floor sucks too? Come on. Like, it's not even because of the archetype of players that they all are. I don't think that any of them are guys that your team is trading for is to them over the top. Like, I don't think any buyers are going to be looking at the Kings and be like, I want that player, except for Keon Ellis, whose value shouldn't be too high since they don't want to play him. Maybe he can be.
Maybe too.
Shit, Dennis Schroeder's probably near
Schroeder
the
as
top
well.
of that list, man.
Like, but most of the guys playing like the most minutes, and maybe.
But the top guys, and
Yeah.
it's going to make it hard for them to go in a different direction, because I think they're going to be there. Like, I don't know how you're getting off of them at this point. So they put themselves in hell. It is terrible. They're probably in the worst. Nah, they're in the second worst situation, though, I would say.
Well, Gabe, you have not given us your team yet. Is this team the first that you have not
You ever,
named yet? Or?
hey, you ever been to the Smoothie King Center before?
No, I have not, and I hope not to
See
go
me
there.
outside.
That's usually where
Hey.
careers die.
Let me ask you something. When they had the Lakers in town, you think anybody in New Orleans was going to the Smoothie King Center?
No.
They were not. And if you have the biggest market in the league in town and people still aren't coming to your games, you're doing something wrong. Your own fans don't give a shit about this team, bro. New Orleans is so bad, and they've made such terrible recent decisions that it's like, you got to blow the whole thing up. They have all these different players, and honestly, the first thing that they need to blow up and replace is the training staff. Because what the hell are you doing? Why is every player on this team injured every single year? At that point, if there's an individual that gets injured a lot, all right, maybe they're injured. If every significant piece on your team is getting injured repeatedly, what are you doing? Are you just like running them too much in practice and they're worn down? Are you like misdiagnosing things, not giving them the right recovery? I don't know. I'm not a trainer, don't have a degree in kinesthesiology. I don't know about all that. What I do know is something is wrong in New Orleans, bro. Like, every time they're like new injury, like DeJounte, Zion, Trey Murphy, like, it don't matter. They're just out. And at this point, it's genuinely almost blasphemy. Beyond that, of course, this pick situation, the big argument against blowing it up has been, you don't even have your own pick next year. What's the point of being bad? I'll tell you the point of bad. It's being able to put some young talent out there, see what you got, and hopefully find some guys who you can maybe build around when you have your pick again. Even if you don't have your own pick, there are guys on the roster. I honestly think their highest value players right now probably are Trey and Herb. I think Zion is at most a cool third on that list, just because of the injury concerns and everything. I think those other two are guys who, kind of like you saw with the Desmond Bane trade, maybe not the best player on the team, but a guy who you can pick up out of your roster and get a lot better pretty universally. So you can get a lot of assets for them, and you can get some other picks maybe that are going to help you moving forward, even if it's not your own. I think a comparable situation, not to the same extent, is kind of what we saw with mid-2010s Brooklyn, where they didn't have their own pick and they were also bad. And it's like, what's the point of being bad? And at that point, they were able to see enough guys play, get enough talent, make things happen to where eventually they pulled off the D'Lo trade. And without even really having their own picks, they made it a competent team and they were moving in the right direction. And eventually that parlayed into them getting KD, Kyrie, and being able to make that a contender there for a couple years. So at least long term, that put them on the right trajectory, even if they didn't have their pick at that time. So I think now when you know that the team you have is going absolutely nowhere, just being able to get as much as you can, especially while I think Trey and Herb have that high value, being able to get off of them, get some assets back, regroup, see what you have with these young players, especially being able to like give Derek Queen more shine, see what you have there. He showed a lot of promise so far. I think they're a team that just desperately needs a change, and especially because a lot of these top guys aren't playing half the time anyways. So at least these young guys can be secure that they're going to have this spot and this opportunity to develop. It's not like if I play bad now, Zion comes back, I'm not in the rotation. You can just be secure, focus on that development. And they're already about to be in a new coaching search too. Maybe James Borrego stays that guy, but also having the coaching change, I think now is as good a time as ever to kind of make those moves as well.
All I'm going to say is just two quick things. One, I feel like when Trey Murphy was asked about the team and he said, don't give up on us. I don't know if you guys saw that at all, that clip. Like, that was maybe the least believable claim I think I've probably ever seen in a, an interview like that in a long time. Probably about as unbelievable as like that whole Dwight Howard, Stan Van Gundy situation, that weird press conference thing. The other thing I'm going to say, and I've said it again, like I said it a couple weeks ago to some of you guys, like nobody wants to go to a Pelicans game. Like literally, I've had, just to put in perspective, I've probably had more than 100 people come on my channel or this show and talk basketball with me, and I'm in communities like on social media and stuff. I don't know one Pelicans fan, bro. I don't. I can't name one off the top of my head. That's the sad thing. And you just watch the games, like nobody's there. It's not like they're leaving midway through after they see the product. They don't even come anymore. That's what I wish like people would do with the Bulls, like start protesting the team. You'll get some changes a little bit more. Like, nah, the Pelicans, they're just like, we're good. We're cool, man. They've
been bailed out too. They've been bailed out. This franchise literally went from Chris Paul to AD to Zion pretty much immediately.
Yeah,
still no fans.
As soon as they lost AD, within what, a week after, like
no, they had the number one pick before they traded AD.
Oh yeah, you're right.
It was
a week before that, and then they made the trade. They probably felt a little bit more comfortable like at that time. But still, like that just shows you like they mismanaged so much.
And the quality of players they got back in that AD trade was like, at the time we looked at it, it was like, okay, that's a pretty good return for a player of Anthony Davis. Like,
Lonzo was good for a couple years after that. I mean, he peaked in Chicago even after, like he was on the up. I mean, we see Josh Hart playing impact minutes now on a team that just went to the conference finals. Like Brandon Ingram became an all-star. Now he's doing some work for those Raptors up there. Like how did they get that return and do nothing?
And they traded Bledsoe and got picks for him. Like man.
You guys remember Nicole O'Malley?
Yeah.
That was kind of a gem in the rough. And then what happened? Like, I don't know. Like, it's just weird. It's another thing to mismanagement. Like, I thought he was pretty good. Nope, guess not.
Yeah, it's been a lot of misses and weird stuff going on in New Orleans. I'll ask this, Gabe, and you guys can chime in if you want. What does a teardown actually look like for New Orleans? Is it just as simple as they need to get rid of Zion and move off of him, or does it need to be deeper than that?
I think Zion's definitely the biggest piece, just because he is the franchise guy. I think once he moves on, I think it's a clear sign to the organization and the fan base that you're going into a new era. I think if it is like you move off Herb Jones, they might be like, oh, we're retooling. No, like if it's Zion, like we're into an era. So I think that is the biggest tipping point. But I'd say as far as the teardown goes, I think to maximize your assets and what you can have moving forward, I think that getting Trey Murphy and Herb Jones off the roster as well is going to have to go into that. And I think with those three is probably like the main pieces of the old guard, at least that are going to have some value. I think once you're able to get off of them, at that point, you're going to have just so many minutes of value, so much for your young guys to focus more on that development and have some bright spots to look forward to. I mean, even if it's not your pick, like there's quite a few teams right now that are either disappointing or just looking really bad. I mean, the pick that the Pelicans traded, like that Indiana pick, it wasn't supposed to be bad. When they traded that pick, that team was in the finals and Halliburton had a healthy Achilles. Well, he had a calf strain, not torn. But at that point, like it wasn't supposed to be a great pick. But I mean, now it's looking amazing, and I'm sure Atlanta's very happy about that. But yeah, all that to say, even if you get a pick that's not yours, it can do some great things. Like OKC might have a top 5 pick next year because the Clippers are so bad. Like to get assets and to get some draft capital, whether you flip it later or if it just ends up being a good pick for you down the road, I think it's never a bad idea. And then just being able to focus on that development side of things is going to be the most important.
I was going to say Zion's probably top priority, but I would say Trey Murphy's like not too far behind because I think somebody might give you a Desmond Bane type of package for him.
Yeah, for
25. Sure. He's really good. And I think he could be like that, third guy on like a really good team. I think he could slide right into that role. I think he's better that way. He's not like a number one guy to me, which is not a slide at him at all.
I think all the above, like with those three especially, you can even throw in Jose Alvarado in there, honestly, because I mean he's been chilling, I feel like, for most of the last couple of years. Same thing.
I get you a second.
Well, same thing really with like you were talking like the injuries and stuff. I feel like this guy's been in and out of the lineup so much recently. Like he was good for them in 2022 in that little playoff series against Phoenix stuff, but I feel like he's kind of like lost his thunder just because he hasn't been on the court so much recently. So I don't know. I think that there's a lot there. Just a mess of a team. You guys have brought up some really good messes of teams.
What the hell happened to Jordan Hawkins, man? I thought he was one of the floor-proof players ever.
Yeah. Notice how none of us even talked about Dallas, bro. Like there's a couple of messes out there right now, man.
They fired Nico, so I'm gonna give them some grace right now. Like they fired the guy that made the worst trade in NBA history. So
yeah.
Well, I will say my team though that I did have for this one, it's not as messy as any of you guys have. I think that they are probably in a better chance to maybe compete or I guess have a fighter's chance. But the reason I have them in here is just because even though they can compete, I feel like the inevitable is going to happen again, and they're going to be stuck in the same spot every time over and over and over again. And I could very well put my Chicago Bulls here because we are in purgatory, right? But I feel like that's a little bit too easy. I'm not going to put my own team that I bash on the daily anyways. So why don't I put the team that pretty much has had the same outcome as us the last several years, the only difference being they just beat us and then they lose in the actual playoffs, the Miami Heat. I think that the Heat are pretty good. I think that they could maybe catch the wrong team lacking in a playoff series. Maybe they could win one. I don't know. But I feel like they don't really have like a crazy high ceiling. Even when they had, the team a couple years ago and they did get to the finals, like they never stood a chance in that series against Denver. Like we knew inevitably that run was going to come to an end. And I feel like the team right now, it's like, for one especially, I think they just need to make a move for a star level player. They need to buy in. I know that they've tried making a couple moves here or there. They haven't went fully invested on those, like Damian Lillard, for instance. They were trying to like hold off maybe for Giannis, and now there's rumors that they're trying to wait until his next free agency. Like, dude, make a move already. Like that, if you're the Miami Heat, like, and this is not like some just typical expansion team either, because when they first came into the league, they had success from the beginning. Like when they had Glenn Rice and Alonzo Mourning and Tim Hardaway, and then that next era you get Dwayne Wade, you bring in Shaquille O'Neal, of course the big three with LeBron, Wade, and Bosh. So they've had like some of the top tier players in the league. I know the first one I said might not seem like it, but Alonzo Mourning to me was at one point a top 3 player in the league right after Michael Jordan for a season. So, I mean, you look at just this whole era, the last like 2014 to now, of course, yeah, they've had Jimmy Butler, but I feel like they could have maybe made a move for another higher tier star player if they're going to make that push. I think people would want to play in Miami. Right now, it just seems like a really weird dynamic because Tyler Hero hasn't been playing. I know he was an all-star last year, but is he really that go-to guy that's going to get you over the hump? Is Norman Powell really like a first option that's going to get you to that championship aspiration? The answer is no. Like that's just the simplest way to put it. I think they could maybe cap out at winning a playoff series, but the most likely scenario is they're going to be in the play-in again, like for the 4th straight year. Actually, no. Yeah, the 4th straight year. And probably for the 3rd straight year, they'll lose in the first round of the playoffs, or they'll lose in the play-in. Like, I don't know, man. It's just, I feel like just for the Heat, who were so successful people, most of my time growing up, not just in the Big Three era, but even before that, it just seems really weird that they're so content for so long, you know, in most of this time under, you know, Pat Riley as well. Like that's just crazy to me.
I mean, the team was in the finals like 2 years ago, so I see why they did wait a little bit longer. Sure, but recently enough. So I see like why they got wild, because you know they made the finals in 2020, and in 2022 they're in the conference finals. Like that whole Jimmy era, like I don't think it was them being lazy not making it. They did have some underperforming regular seasons, but it was really clear they trusted in their guys, and they made 3 deep playoff runs in like 4 or 5 seasons with that core. But yeah, at this point I can totally agree. Like I think they do need to take a new direction instead of just being where they are, kind of stuck in the middle. But with that said, like what do you think are their assets? Like what do they do to buy in? What star would you target if you were them, and what pieces are you putting together to make that happen?
I don't love the. Yeah, I'll just make a quick note. I'm not necessarily in the trade Lauri Markkanen camp, but I think he's a guy that could make sense here. I mean, a wing is the obvious miss right now as far as high level guys go. The salary matching is easy for them. I mean, Wiggins is making $30 million. I think they can trade his contract, but if they can't, then that eliminates it. But Terry Rozier is making $26 million, so if they can, salary matching is easy. And so at that point, I mean, you not necessarily saying you'd want to trade any or all of these guys, but you've got Jovic, you've got Jaime Jaquez, you've got Khalil Ware, you've got Yakachunias, their first round pick this year, who could all be potential interesting pieces for the Jazz, plus any picks you want to throw in. Now you're looking at Bam, Hero, Powell still there for the year, and Lauri. That's a little bit more intriguing, but they go, like you mentioned, Garrett, they really haven't been willing to pull the trigger on any type of move like that.
Yeah, and that's just the thing. It's like, I know Miami's not like the highest of markets, but it seems like one of the most desirable places to be for a while, and then it seems like that just kind of stagnated. I know mostly because of the new CBA has more people signing extensions, so they don't have as much free reign to actually sign free agency. But I don't know, I just feel like, you know, they could make a move, and it could go either way. Like if they just want to like start completely over and invest more in the young guys they have, because I mean Jaquez, he's only 24 or so, and he's been playing pretty good. Khalil Ware, of course, as well. But you know, with I feel like Bam, Wiggins, Powell, I mean, these are guys that are probably about as good right now as they're ever going to be, and just where the team is right now, I don't see it really getting that much better.
Intriguing. At least Jaime Jaquez has been playing good. I like what I've seen from Davion Mitchell, like dating back to last season when he got to Miami, he was playing really good. Just I think, like you guys kind of said, like a weird team that like they can go really either direction, and I would kind of understand if they want to try and push their chips in if it's possible. You can see it because like we were kind of talking offline, like the East is so weak. Mm-hmm. Like why couldn't they be a team that could push their chips in, make a run, right? Like it's possible, but intriguing team. I don't think I really expected them to like be as fun. Like Bam's like kind of ascension this year. Like he's shooting a lot more threes this year and stuff like that. Norman Powell, when he's played, that's kind of picked up where he left off during parts of the season last year. Intriguing team. Jaime Jaquez, like his resurgence has been fun. Very interesting. Like if they were to like tear it down, if that was the direction, like it would make sense, because I think they would still like they got young players like Devin mentioned, like they were pretty like, you know, at least somewhat promising, and they got guys that like other teams would definitely want to. Yeah, interesting team. Like I don't really know how to gauge them right now as far as like direction go.
Well, we're gonna have to see. Like I said, it's definitely more of a firm team in the sense of like they have some sort of semblance of competing, whereas these other 3 teams that we mentioned definitely need to make a move or do something to get in the right direction. And I guess as we are getting in the right direction here, we can move on to this next topic. I told you guys beforehand to have maybe a comparison between a current or a current player, a current team, and draw it to a former player or formers. So any of you guys can start, but what are these pairs?
I had a funny one and a real one.
Okay.
All right, my funny one is Ja Morant and Russell Westbrook. Just because Ja Morant really speed ran Russell Westbrook's career without the accolades. Ascending explosive guard, took his team to a certain point, made them really exciting, gave a lot of people hope. Very important to the city, but was not able to get over the hump. Had some deficiencies in his game that limited team building. And, you know, eventually, just after a couple seasons of underperforming, now it's looking like it might be the end of the road and time to move on. But naturally, peak for peak longevity. Russ is much better. Not really on the same plane career-wise, but the real one I wanted to make is the natural one, which I think is a good way to start this off, which is, of course, the 2025 OKC Thunder to the 2016 Golden State Warriors.
God, I was gonna say that. That was one.
You know, and we can open up that discussion because, I mean, really the big comparison here is guys sitting out fourth quarters. Shea, Steph missed a lot of fourth quarters, but still putting up big numbers. And of course, just being head and shoulders above the rest of you. But really, I think that these teams, while they're winning, I think the point I really want to make here is I think it just shows how much the game has changed over the last few years. Because looking at what the Warriors did not even 10 years ago, or I guess at this point, might be kind of old, about exactly 10 seasons ago. This year will end in 2026. So with the Warriors, like there was the three-point revolution. Like they were shooting out the gym. Of course, 2016 Steph, we know what he did, one of Clay's best years. And that team just changed basketball. I mean, everybody wanted to shoot threes for years. Everybody's copying that. You see what happened with Houston. And eventually that evolves all the way into what you see with like 2024 Boston, where this team is just 3 and still gets the job done at the end of the day. But I think what you see with the Thunder is a shift in a diversification of teams in the league that can be successful, because you see here in recent years, you have like the Nuggets, who are more so of a central offensive hub, ran through the center position, very non-traditional, got a chip. Then you see Boston, who a lot of three-point shooting, not really one dominant playmaker per se, but they played their style of ball very different than what you saw from Denver, got the job done. And then you see what OKC is doing and is now taking to a whole new level, where this team is not a great three-point shooting team. And in a league where it seems like threes have been king for so long in recent years, seeing a team that really rests their hat on defense is head and shoulders just like locking up your opponent's best player. Like you see, I think Steph Curry said the other day, like basically a bad game against OKC, like we're not taking that into consideration. Like if I see a box score, see a guy had an off night, or watch a game, he's not making shots, he's getting clamped up. Either way, if it's against OKC, I'm not really holding that against that player. And just to see a team dominate so hard in 2025 on the defensive end of the ball, I think it's incredible. I think it really just shows that we are getting back to a point where teams can play different styles and win games. Like we always say the term copycat league, but I feel like now we're getting more so back to something that you might see like in the early 2010s, late 2000s, where you have different teams, like you have, the 7 seconds or less Suns on one end, and on the other side you have the grit and grind Grizzlies, and you see these different styles that can both have their different levels of success. So I really think what OKC is doing right now is changing the game itself, but I think instead of leading it into a direction where it makes everybody want to do the same thing, I think it just shows a level of diversification of how you can succeed in the league.
I was just gonna say, like, I just can't believe Jalen Williams has not played a game this season, and they're this good. Like,
it's ridiculous.
My comparison too with that you could even say is like talking about key contributors on that. Like, I know it's a little bit different, but Jalen Williams being out, I know Chet's been out too, but Jalen Williams missed every game. I mean, the Warriors started that season, not a player, but Steve Kerr was out for a majority of the season, because he was dealing with something of his own, and then Luke Walton's taken over, and then Steve Kerr came back, and I think they technically had a worse record with him, but they still managed to get over that 72-10 to set the record. I don't think this OKC team, at least right now, it's hard to say they're going to pass 73-9 or the 72-10, but I definitely think a 70-win season isn't out of the picture either.
They almost had it last year. I mean,
68, yeah. And that's one win more than the Warriors before the 73-win season, because they had 67. So maybe 74, I don't know, but I'll say around 70. Go ahead, Devin, sorry.
Yeah, no, they're a special group, man. And I'm glad you touched on it, Gabe, how it feels like they've really emphasized how you can win in so many diverse ways in the league right now. And that's been one of my favorite things about watching the league this year. I feel like there's a lot more diversity in how a lot of teams are playing and how a lot of rotations are going. Now, a little bit of the copycat and some of the double bigs coming in, but
yeah,
I don't mind that, because it's different from what the norm's been. It's certainly not the norm. I feel like we're seeing a lot more zone defense this year too. Like it's just been a very unique field from game to game, team to team, depending on the matchup. And I think OKC have been a big part of that, and that's been very fun to watch. And they've kind of been a big leader in that.
They also just one more weird parallels, Warriors. They won in 15, best team in the league, wire to wire, pretty much. OKC was that last year. Maybe won the finals in like maybe a lesser fashion. Like they struggled a little bit, but they found a way to win it.
Don't say what I think you're gonna say.
The next year, they look like they could win 70 plus games. Like that's how good they look. Just remember, the Warriors won 73 games, and they got better the year after that because they got Kevin Durant. OKC has the potential to have like another top pick, which is
it's gonna be top three. I'm telling you right now, it's gonna be top three. I don't care wherever the Clippers are in the lottery. OKC is getting that pick in the top three.
It still is very early, I will say, for the sake of the Clippers being in the lottery, even though they do suck. Like right now, like there are so many teams in the West that are bundled in right there, and we're only like 12, 14 games. So
you can't be out in the West for a long time, man. They're gonna leave you behind.
The Clippers, in recent years, they've always had that over 500 first round exit thing. So we got to see what happens. That could really hinder the plans there. But yeah, man, I don't know. But moving on to Rik, Devin, one of you guys who's.
I'll go. I had Gabe mentioned the Pistons earlier, but the Pistons were kind of mine. And I saw a tweet like a couple weeks ago, like when the win streak first started. Somebody was like, "Man, the Pistons are just like a '90s basketball team." And I was like, I think I made a TikTok about like just talking about the parallels to like the bad boy Pistons. Even if you want to go to like the 04 Pistons, I mean, like you got your guard that you run most of your offense through, like K, Chauncey Billups, Isaiah Thomas, like those parallels there. And then you got like your shooters, your off ball guys, Rip Hamilton, Joe Dumars, Duncan Robinson's assumed that role this year. And then everybody else just beats you the hell up. Like you just got a bunch of dogs on the team. And that's just really what the Pistons are. I mean, they got the Durns, the Isaiah Stewarts, the Ron Hollands, the Sar Thompson. This team like just embodies 90s basketball to me. And like even like early 2000s of basketball, it's like kind of a disgusting thing to watch, but you just gotta enjoy it. You gotta love it. Like it's great basketball. And it's even with K like missing some time during his win streak. And they just got guys stepping up. Danish Jenkins stepping up. Chaz Lanier had a couple good shooting games. Like I love this team. Like you just gotta enjoy watching this team. Is this sustainable for the 1 seed all year? Who knows? The East kind of sucks. But this team just reminds me of like those old Pistons teams of the past, which is just very fitting because it seems like every time the Pistons are good, they follow the same model. And that's what this team is starting to follow too.
Who's their Tayshaun Prince?
I think, each Piston team had like a freakish defender. I think it kind of has to be a Sar Thompson because he kind of assumes that, versatile wing defender, the Dennis Rodman. Is he that level of guy? Not yet. Will he get there? Who knows? But for this team, I think he assumes that role for them.
Okay.
It's so nasty, and I do love it. I will say that much. Yeah, man, I don't know. I mean, like I said earlier, I was going to even give some like Jalen Duren props and, Cade Cunningham, as, Gabe told me even earlier today, like right now he's been the best clutch player in the league. So, I mean, you put this all together and you get like depth players coming in here as well. The vets, the young guys are really showing out, like Jenkins, for instance, like people that weren't probably on your scouting report a couple weeks ago. Now they gotta be. So that's what makes a team like this fun. And even if like they're not the best 3-point shooting team or anything like that, like it's still fun to watch them like win games in a variety of ways.
I think Malik Beasley's coming back to this team too. I think he'll be on the roster by All-Star break.
I don't think
he wants to come back, man.
And I don't know if they need him, honestly.
Yeah.
We keep saying shooting is one of their weaknesses. If shooting's like one of their main weaknesses. Malik Beasley was like one of the best.
It helped for sure, but then it's like you're not playing him and Duncan together probably. Like, and I feel like those guys kind of play the same role. So I mean, if it's like Malik maybe come up, like it wouldn't hurt, I would say. Like, but I don't think it's a necessity, honestly. I was about to say something, I lost my train of thought, but I think I was gonna go back to like that game against the Wizards. Like it was just like this team, they know who they are. Like even when they have guys down, like I feel like the team identity doesn't change. Like they're gonna play the same brand of basketball. You can't count them out of games. I was in person when they played Philly in the NBA Cup last week, and like you just kind of had a feeling like, okay, they were gonna stick around, and then like they went on a nice run in the third quarter, and then just jumped on the Sixers in the fourth quarter, and ended up winning the game by I think almost double figures. And in that game against the Wizards last week, like you just knew, like Cade knew he's gonna have to take as many shots as he did, and it was necessary. But they found a way to win. They stuck around long enough, found a way to win that game. Like I think I love like watching young teams really like figure out what their identity is and learn how to win that way. You kind of saw that with like OKC the last couple of years. Like they understood their identity. They're going to be an elite defensive team. They got their guy in Shea. Jalen Williams can take over some games, and everybody else just really assumes their role. Nobody tries to step out of their boundaries too much. And you're kind of seeing that with the Pistons. Like they understand how they're going to win games. They're not going to shoot you out the gym, but they're really just going to defend like hell, kind of play like with a little bit of chaos. And they got their guy in Cade, who if it comes down to it, he can be that that clutch player of the year type of guy.
I will say that 14 of 45. I'm pretty sure that's what it was, right? In the Wizards game.
It was, but I was watching. I'm like, I understand. Like, I see why, and it's not. I don't think he was really like forcing the issue as much. It's just like, I mean, you're playing with a guy that's playing on a 2-way contract and a second-round pick rookie.
Yeah,
like you just kind of had to on the favor.
Like that's what I'm saying. Like, you look at that and it's like, that's crazy.
But it got a win though. That's the only stat that matters. That's the only stat that matters.
Not the most misses ever.
Hey, Kobe had that record before, man. He's top 10 all time.
No longer. But Devin, what's your take?
I am sticking in LA with both teams here. I'm afraid I'm going to have to be a party pooper here and go negative, because I'm afraid these Clippers may be a little bit similar to the post-Russ trade Lakers. It's going rough here in LA. They're certainly not meeting expectations for the Clippers this year. Now, were expectations as high this year as the Lakers were when they got Russ? No. And was their trade they made this summer as notable? No. However, the Clippers did trade away Norm after a very good season, brought in John Collins, who was fine, but the larger issue being that they traded away Powell largely so that Bradley Beal could take his spot in the rotation, and he was bad, and now, of course, he's out for the year, but even still, it didn't look like he was meeting expectations. But ultimately, that's the fun with where they're at, and that's the other parallel to the Lakers, is that they are an extremely old team. They've had injury problems. They're going to continue to have injury problems because they're old, and post now notable offseason trade, they just seem to be even worse instead of better, because they don't have that guy like Norman Powell who can help them on nights where they're missing guys. And especially when Kawhi is out, you're missing that 20 points a night that he was giving you that you now no longer have, especially from a perimeter creation and a 3-point shooting standpoint. So not as drastic of a fall off, but you're certainly missing those role players, or role player in this case, that got traded away from the Clippers and Norm Powell. The Lakers dearly missed Kyle Kuzma and KCP from that Russell Westbrook trade, and they are certainly not meeting the expectations that they had after their offseason.
That might be one of the better ones, definitely, I've heard, because, I mean, for one, I was kind of thinking along the same things, just because, you know, it is similar. There's so many old guys that on this team right now that were all-stars at one point. You got Kawhi, Harden, Beal, Chris Paul, Brook Lopez, you know what I mean? Like, just a bunch of those dudes, and some of them, most of them, are probably past their prime, I would say. Except, like, you know, Harden still got something in him, and, like, same thing with Kawhi when he's playing, but those other guys, definitely not. And then you look at the Lakers side of things, it's like you look at LeBron, AD, what else? Like Melo, DeAndre Jordan, Dwight Howard. Like, hey, man, the only thing that's missing on this Clippers team to certify that comparison is signing Isaiah Thomas to a 10-day. And it'll be solidified, stamp it in, perfect.
All right, I do have a question about this one for you though, because
for me or all of us,
for Devin, for making the comparison here. I guess anybody can chime in, but I'm most interested just because Devin brought a take. So with that team, they made the Rush trade and they got really bad, like 21-22 season, not good, very bad team. In 2023, they start the season, they're pretty bad, and then they're like, all right, it's time to make a move. They get off Russ immediately. That playoffs, they go to the conference finals. Do you think there's a route where this Clippers team, as currently constructed, can flip the script and put themselves in a position to get back to the conference finals like that?
I am afraid their parallel to this team only stays true in the being bad part and not in the actually rebounding to being good part. So, no, I don't believe there's a world where that happens.
They don't got to rob Pelinka to pull some strings?
Well, and unfortunately, I would say, just to add into that, like, if they are bad the whole course of this season and majority of next season, there's not a move that they will make that will get them to like a conference finals, like you said. But I feel like if it got to that point, the move they're ultimately gonna probably make is, you know, cutting ties, like trading Kawhi. Like, that's like the only major decision you could make to start over. So that would obviously kickstart a rebuild. They're not going to be winning games with the current construction of the team at that point if it looks anything similar to this, and just trading Kawhi for younger assets. assets, but what else really can you do? Like, you can't trade Bradley Beal for much of anything. Chris Paul might be retired. You can't trade Brook Lopez really for much. Maybe you could get something for John Collins, but Ty Lue doesn't even really play him that much, so I don't really know how you're going to get much there. Nicholas Batum, I mean, he's a great role player, one of the best in the league, but I mean, this brother's like 36, 37. Teams aren't going to be giving you big packages for him. And then maybe Harden as well, but I mean, we've also seen Harden in some situations where it just didn't work and actually ended pretty bad. So there's just a lot, like, and Kawhi even, like, Kawhi has just missed some games. Teams aren't going to be anxious probably to trade for him because he's also older now. So, but I think that might be the first signal to the Clippers fan base that, hey, like, we're trying to shift things here.
At least Harden can still hoop, man. That's all that matters to me. My guy still got it.
He does. I think they're just going to be stuck like that. And this might be coming at it from a weird angle, but I honestly feel like because Kawhi and Harden are like LA guys, like born in LA, like that's just where they're from, I don't think they're going to want to move on. And usually if you're looking for a trade partner for a guy who's going to be a big piece, usually you're like, okay, if I trade them here, like, are they going to stick around? And I just don't know if there's going to be a situation where they're going to want to leave LA. Like, I think they're just so comfortable there. And I feel like the way the team is ran, like, Ballmer's probably like, all right, cool. You got name value. You got star power. We'll keep you around. Let's try to compete with Big Brother Lakers. And so I don't even think there's like a scenario where they look at trading either of those two unless they specifically ask. But because they're from LA, I think they're cool being home, and I don't think they're gonna ask.
Devin, what if we get Harden back in Houston? That movie?
Oh man, I don't even know how I feel about that one. That one's interesting because I like them getting the ball and to learn a playmaker. Yeah. Do I like Harden being that guy? I don't know.
It's poetic.
It's interesting.
With KD,
I'd have to think about it.
It'd be like Harden and KD together for the third time.
It would really depend on what you have to give up. Like, that's the big part. Like,
for sure.
Like, take Freddie's contract if y'all want.
Hey, you take like
we'll give you like a pick or something because Harden's old.
Tari Eason, Reed Shepard, and a first-round pick.
I don't know if I would.
That money does not line up. There's
love James to death, man. I don't. If you could do that, I don't think I would.
But yeah, man. For my take here, I actually had a player comparison on here. But I will say, just to throw out like a team comparison in some right. Give me 1 second. I gotta drink water. My throat's getting all weird.
Oh man.
Jesus. Oh my gosh. We're good now. Okay. Anyways, just to throw out a team comparison though, because you guys did. They're not like totally the same way, but I see the vision in the same way I see the vision from this older team. With Philadelphia right now, and I even said this to like Devin and Gabe, in a way it does kind of remind me of the Pacers of the early 2000s, where you had a guy like Joel Embiid who, similar in like Reggie Miller's shoes, was the guy on this team, and now he's kind of just like filling in pretty well, same way that Reggie Miller did on that team when guys like Ron Artest and Jermaine O'Neal, started finding their groove, and Jermaine O'Neal was the main player on the team. And then, even having like some of these other guys on the squad like Jonathan Bender and Jeff Foster on that team, like maybe you could draw some comparisons with like Adam Bona and Quentin Grimes, Kelly Oubre, like just in terms of like a role player sense. So I do think that we're gonna have to see a full season of how this whole shift from Embiid to Maxey with the torch, and also like maybe a young guy like VJ Edgecombe, which you could probably compare to a Ron Artest in that sense at that time, maybe not the defender, but like just on the rise, playing the same similar position. So that's like a team comparison just along the vision, I would say. But for my player that I was going to say is I feel like on the Grizzlies, from what I've seen, and I did compare this guy to a former Grizzly, but I feel like Cedric Coward, up there as one of the leaders in Rookie of the Year right now. I feel like a lot of what he does is pretty similar maybe to like Rudy Gay, honestly. Like, I think the jump shot looks pretty similar. They not like a super elite shooter, but kind of like right in the middle of the pack. He can already score his own. He can get buckets. He backdoor cuts a lot, like moving in the offense. That's a lot of like what Rudy Gay did, especially when he was younger, and especially especially like he can score any level, 3-point line, mid-range, drive into the basket. So I think that the variety is definitely there. I think Rudy Gay maybe is a little bit more athletic, but it's not that Cedric Coward can't get up. And then also, I just feel like the versatility as well between both of these guys is similar, and the rebounding is pretty similar as well. So, and funny enough, Rudy Gay wore number 22 in Memphis. Cedric Coward wears number 23. So maybe it does feel like the next step, quite literally, in that sense.
I like that.
Holla very good, man. Prime Holla very good right there.
When he was in Memphis, he was different.
Yeah.
Like he was the excitement for them for a while, for sure.
Hey, Zebo was too, though. I mean, Zebo's my guy. But yes, I do agree. He was the one, like, with the ESPN top 10, like, every other night, it felt like.
Yeah. Game winners over LeBron. He was different.
You guys remember the clip? Wasn't it against Toronto where that fan was like, no, not this guy, not this guy. And he's like, no. Like, and then Rudy Gay ended up being a Raptor, like, within a year of that.
Yeah. Oh, man. Raptors legend.
Yeah, shout out to the Raptor legend, Rudy Gay. Kings legend, too. When I first started watching ball, this will age me a little bit. It was like him, Tyreek Evans. I think maybe Nick Stauskas was on the team still at that point. I don't know. It was like the 2016 Kings with Boogie.
Oh, I think that was Rondo, if I'm not mistaken. Rondo might have been there.
Yeah, it was either Rondo or
with
Tyreek
Tyreek Evans, you're talking about, or
yeah, Tyreek Evans, Boogie, Rudy Gay.
I think that was before, because he went to the Pelicans in like 2013, 2014.
Yeah.
So I mean, they had some weird guys, like Carl Landry, Jason Thompson. Like,
love Carl Landry, man.
Carl Landry. Hey, if anyone's watching, send your friends a clip of Carl Landry if you truly love him.
All right.
But yeah,
let's see. Rudy Gay was there. Dang, he was there kind of a minute. 13, 14 until 16, 17.
In Sacramento, yeah.
Yeah, he was there for a minute.
Yeah, man. But I don't know. I do see like similar lines. I mean, Rudy Gay, I think, might be like an inch or two taller as well. But I feel like in a way they just feel a little bit similar. And he's already looked good as a rookie. Rudy Gay did as well. So maybe that's also part of it. I don't know, man. But yeah, I don't know if you guys have anything you want to add there. You want to move it on to the mini game?
Let the Grizzlies build around it, man.
Yeah,
pick a direction. Tying it all together today.
But yeah, man. So we can get into this NBA Epic 10s mini game that close out the show. So I know you guys don't know anything about what this mini game entails, but you will all be working together. So that is the good thing. The thing here is there's going to be 3 teams that I give you with 3 specific stats, and you guys are going to have 30 seconds to work together to try and name me the players who are top 10 all time in that category for that team. Now it's nothing like super crazy. Like, I'm not going to give you like top 10 in effective field goal percentage all time or something like weird like that. But, these are definitely, a lot of the names on here should be names that and there might be some weird ones. You'll also get more points if they're rated higher on the list. So the number 1 answer will get you 10 points if you get it right. The number 2 answer, 9 points. Number 3 answer, 8 points. All the way down to number 10 answer gets you 1 point. There's no penalty for any incorrect guesses, so you guys can guess away and just hopefully I can track them all.
Okay. So just to clarify,
yes.
So when you say like 3 teams and 3 stat categories, so are you just giving us like one team, name us the top 10 in this one stat, and then like that's that round?
Yes.
Okay.
You will have three additions to those. So in total, there's gonna be a 30-second.
Okay.
With that said, are you guys ready?
I think so.
Yeah, I got 2 guys with high ball knowledge on my team, man. I'm feeling confident.
You do have 2 tournament champions on your team, Gabe.
So
this one could be yours, though. We'll have to see.
Yikes.
Are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right. So the first one, I'm looking for the top 10 in Orlando Magic history in total games played. Go.
Dwight Howard.
You probably got T-Mac on that list somewhere.
Vucevic.
Jameer Nelson.
Pat
DJ
Gordon.
Augustine. Vucevic. Victor Oladipo. Aaron Gordon. I'm stumped.
Yep. Aaron Gordon's a good guess.
Nick Anderson. Is that his name from the 90s?
Dennis Scott, 3D's probably on that list.
Turkoglu,
5 seconds.
What's
Evan Fournier.
Scott Skiles?
Lewis.
Aaron Gordon was there for a minute.
I do need to ask real quick. What was the second name? Do you remember the second name you said, Rik, in that round or no?
Pat Garrity.
Okay. I wanted to confirm because I thought that's what you said. He was on the
Crazy
list.
Paul.
Come on now. Come on
He was
now.
on the
That's
list.
what? I've never heard that name in my
Great
life.
poll.
No,
Pat
that
Garrity,
was,
man.
that was a great poll.
Who is Pat
You
Garrity?
guys really went crazy though on this list. You actually got 50 points for the first one already. Nick Anderson was number 1. Number 2, Jameer Nelson. Number 3, Dwight Howard. Number 4, Nikola Vucevic. Number 5, Pat Garrity.
Yeah.
You guys got all those. You did not get number 6, but you got number 7 through 10. It was Hedo Turkoglu, Dennis Scott, Evan Fournier, and Aaron Gordon. The only one you missed was Daryl Armstrong.
Okay, I'm not mad about that. I was gonna get to
that's
Daryl.
Good round. Good round.
That is pretty good. I will tell you, 50 is, I'm not going to totally give it away, but it's one of the best single question rounds we've had so far this season.
Okay.
We'll see if you can keep it up for the second one. So are you ready?
Let's do it.
All right, number 2. I think number 2 might be the hardest one on here, but we'll see how you guys do. So number 2, it is the Detroit Pistons. I'm looking for top 10 in their franchise history, and the stat here is assists per game. Go.
Isaiah Thomas.
Isaiah Thomas.
Cade.
Blake Griffin was averaging assist numbers when he was there.
Dave
Not
Bing. Maybe he's there.
Might be.
Reggie Jackson. Give me Reggie Jackson.
Brandon Jennings. I feel like he played there kind of short, but you
Yeah.
know,
Chauncey
Some
Billups. Rick
Grant Hill.
Johnson.
Throw Grant Hill in the
was
mix. Yeah.
like-
Oh,
Ronnie Stuckey.
Joe
Brandon
Dumars.
Knight. 5 seconds.
Just throwing out names.
3,
Uh,
2.
It's so much
Jay Nivey. Oh, Dennis Schroeder. Oh, I should have said that.
No, he's not on there.
Oh, okay. All right.
So on this one, you guys didn't quite get 50, but you got 39. Very good.
Take that.
You guys got the only ones you missed. You got 7 out of 10, and I don't think you can be mad at any of the ones you missed. Number 9 was Dick McGuire.
Nah, I'm
Number
not
7
getting
was Andy Phillip. These are some 50s guys.
Who?
Number 1 though, one of you guys might have got it. Maybe this guy played a couple years with Detroit. Kevin Porter Sr.
Ooh.
So not
Yeah, I
still
don't know if I
not
would've
too
got
crazy.
that.
That was their
But,
number 1.
That was number 1. Number 2 was Isaiah
my.
Thomas. 3, Cade Cunningham. 4, Brandon Jennings.
Yeah.
5 was
Cool.
Dave Bing. 6 was Grant Hill. Number 8 was Chauncey Billups. And number 10 was Reggie Jackson.
All right.
Great shout on Reggie Jackson, guys.
Hey, that was that mid 2010s. Just he was feeding Andre Drummond.
So you guys got one more left. I feel like there's a good chance you'll get a good score, and very well might put you guys in first place for the season. So are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Good.
All right, so if you guys noticed, I couldn't give you guys your favorite teams for these questions, right? But I know that Devin is, he likes the Orlando Magic. I know that Rik, very close to Detroit, right? So I think you know where this is going.
It's got to be Golden State, man.
This is indeed Golden State for the last one. And I'm looking for top 10 in Golden State Warriors history, and the stat is made 3-pointers. Go.
Curry,
Curry,
Klay Thompson,
Draymond Green.
Chris Mullen, give me that.
Jordan Poole.
Monte
Dennis
Ellis.
Richmond,
Jason
Baron
Richardson.
Davis, Steven
Yeah.
Jackson,
Baron Davis.
Al
Andre
Harrington,
Iguodala,
who was there for a little bit.
Tim
Trell
Hardaway
Sprewell.
Sr. Great ball.
Leandro Barbosa, just throwing out names. Sean
Elena
Livingston, he wasn't
Azubuike,
shooting out there.
Monte Ellis.
Who was on?
seconds.
Who was on those benches? Oh,
Chris Mullen there, maybe.
Tim Hardaway.
Okay, that's time.
Did we say Mitch Richmond? Damn, we
Yeah, I said him.
He
I
said
said him.
Mitch. Gabe
Good,
said
good.
Yeah.
Richmond.
Good guess.
So I guess with that said, you guys win a perfect 10 for 10, and you're the
Come on,
first one to
man.
ever do that.
It was.
Wow.
Hey, what y'all know? Hey, what y'all know?
Warriors.
That is crazy.
Let's go Dubs.
You guys, number 1, Steph Curry. 2,
Steph
Klay
Thompson.
Thompson. 3, Draymond.
Mhm.
4 was Jason
Yeah.
Richardson. 5, Tim Hardaway. 6 was Jordan Poole. 7, Andrew Wiggins. 8, Chris Mullen. 9, Latrell Sprewell. And 10, Baron Davis.
The Sprewell, and that was a good pull. Good pull, Devin.
Yeah.
That was a great one.
Yeah, I didn't think about Sprewell at all. That's crazy.
Who said Jordan Poole? Because I low key.
Devin-
I thought-
Devin said
I think I
that.
threw that one out
Oh.
there. Yeah.
Devin cooked
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah, Devin got a lot of the ones like down there too, maybe the more obscure ones on this one, but yeah, man, you guys definitely cooked. In total, you got 10 out of 10 on that one. You guys really went 26 for 30 overall, and I'm gonna have to add this score together, so you have to give me a second. I don't know how anyone's really gonna beat this in the season because the max score anyone could get is 165. You guys got 144.
Woo!
That is
Rich little
indeed
boys.
running the table.
That's money.
Man.
Wow. Now the way the seeding works for like later in the season, I'm gonna seed you guys based on like who like the first answer, like who gave that answer first and stuff, like just to organize it. But with that being said, top above everybody else, and I've had like almost like 20 people on this season. So how does that feel?
I was never in doubt with these two by my side, man. All I have to do is bask in the glory of these two men, and it'll all work out.
I feel like we're always in like the top ranks when it comes to team performances, so it's not shocking.
No.
Just in general, like you guys are always like somewhere in that top half. I don't think there's been a Bullony basketball season where any of you guys were like a bottom half seed.
Hey man, usually in your tournaments, I'm a high floor player. I'm making it to like the third round.
Hey man, well we will see. Maybe these ones were easy. Maybe when it comes later in the year, I got to spice it up a little bit on the questions. You'll have to see. But for now, 3 Point Weekly are the top three. So that is big news.
All right.
And yeah, man, appreciate you guys being on again. A great performance on the mini game, and I thought it was a great episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching. Got anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
Thanks for having us on, man.
Yeah, shout out to 4 Point Weekly. Love the yearly reunion.
Yes, sir. Gotta love these 4 point plays. We'll have to see when the next one happens. But yeah, man. Again, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Thank you guys for watching, and we're out. Peace.